back in the house, literally back at the house. Finally got one day of fishing under my belt, and got, I guess, quite a bit to talk about. And look what was here waiting when I got home. Oh yeah, it's an unboxing. So let's unbox it. And for those of you that were wondering, I've been under the weather, and yes, it was COVID. I had COVID first time, only time I've ever had it, and it jacked me up. I've been off work for just over a week. And no, I didn't do any fishing during that time because if you guys remember, I went out, I did a cast test like shootout thing, and that thing wore me out just doing that. So anyway, first full day in, I'm back. Back on it. I don't even remember what medicine I took, but I took some medicine that left a funny taste in my mouth. I didn't lose my sense of taste. The medicine left a funny taste in my mouth. But anyway, let's see what we got right here. We have the bigger rod. What I have right here, that's the little one. I got it. Charles got the reel. If you remember, right, this reel over here, right there. And then, so I sold him the rod. Didn't realize you can't even get the rod anymore. So I bought the rod back, and it's still, as far as I know, it's still listed but not available. But the one that is available, I went ahead and ordered one of those. And that's what made it in today. And while you guys were gone, I was going to do another unboxing. And what came yesterday was a, which one? Just out of the screenshot. That guy came yesterday. Remember, these two came. That's the 8-to-1 and the 7-to-1. The 8-to-1 kind of felt like it had more resistance than it should have. But part of it, I think it was because it's 8-to-1. But I've since fished it, caught some fish. Today, it seems fine. And this one also got a little bit of testing out with it. And both these, testing them with 15-pound braid with a 15-pound leader. Unfortunately, I haven't caught any big fish on them. The one I rigged up with 10-pound test on our little carbon light did catch a almost 5-pounder on it today. You guys will be seeing that video. The footage is downloading onto my computer as we speak. So I put the the only dark wool filter I have. The other two haven't made it in yet. On our DMX street bass, actually hardly even threw it. Didn't really need to throw it today. So I'm still up in the air. I may put this reel, and I just stuck this handle on just to have a handle on it because I had to rob the handle from one of these. And I just used it to pull the purple line I had on one of these other reels. I don't remember which one. But it kind of looks okay with purple line on it. It kind of looks weird. But I originally had planned on putting this line on it because I thought it would look good. 15-pound on, even though it's a kind of a BFS, that spool holds a lot of line, 15-pound braid. And then trying it on this bigger rod that I'm getting ready to unbox right now. The issue is this line. If you remember, I ordered this line. And it was supposed to be, even in the color, the pictures, just like this braid, right? It was cheaper. That's what I get for... You can only go so cheap, right? Don't go full cheapo. The Hercules and the Perberos I've had good luck with. Even that Devicant seemed, or Gevicant I think it is, didn't seem bad. I thought I'd bought this stuff in the past, Dorsey. I don't like this braid, and I'm going to tell you why real quick, and then we're going to unbox this thing. So I will no longer be buying any more of that name for one simple reason. That, first of all, the color's way off. Two simple reasons. Second of all, I was out with, I believe it was this one. I was casting, and I backlashed, which I typically do sometimes, with a, I don't even think it was a half, maybe it was a half-ounce bait, but usually a 15-pound, I've never had the braid just snap. So, I didn't cast extremely hard, but I cast maybe a little harder than I should have. The braid caught, and it snapped the braid. And it wasn't 10 minutes later, I did the same thing with 10-pound braid. Kind of felt like the same kind of deal, and that braid didn't break. Normally, it doesn't break. This stuff I broke like a couple times now when I feel it should not break. So I am never buying this line again. I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with Hercules. I have enough Probero 10 pound to last like a lifetime. So I'm going to use the Proberos. I haven't had any issues with it. But I think in the future, what I'm going to track down is a 15 pound camo braid in Hercules. And I'm going to probably from here on out, because it's pretty cheap braid, right? It's not cheap made. It's just it's very affordable braid. I've never had an issue with the Hercules. I think I'm going to stick with the Hercules. So I think I'm going to track down some 15. So far though, I've had good luck with the purple. The problem is I don't think there's that many color choices in this, and this is supposed to be an actual 18-pound braid with the same or even a touch less diameter than the 15-pound. But it is a little more expensive, and so other than on a few of my purple rods, I probably don't need any more of it, but I think I'm gonna stick with Hercules. So there you have it. If you want my recommendation on a braid from AliExpress, stick with Hercules. So we have here, should be a 3-piece rod. DMX Street Bass 210M. So this is a medium. Oh wow, look at this. Let me show you guys something. This actually handle even looks better. This reel seat even looks better than this one, which I thought was awesome looking in the first place. And look what they've changed here. Do you guys see the difference? Somebody say it. Say it. Right up here on the reel seat right here. That. I think that to me looks better. It's kind of got this little cutout thing going for it. It says Street Bass right on it. Now the rest is the same except, okay, so look, it's got a little bit longer, which is good. This one's like right on that edge. And a very good looking reel seat. The rod blank material is pretty sensitive. So I think I'll be happy with this rod. This will be, now this is not BFS. That is on the verge of being like power BFS, the medium light, which is very capable for pretty light stuff, but it's like, it's right there on the verge. This rod, it's nowhere near BFS. But hopefully it's as sensitive as that other one, because even though it's a 3-piece, it's hard to explain. It is definitely more sensitive. It's one of the more sensitive rods I own. So let's just try to. The only downside to these, there's no markings, and you got this one with no eyes, so you kind of just have to eyeball it, kind of guess it. We're going to call that good. Push that together, and you can always change them, move it around a little bit. So let's get the final piece out. And I guess if a guy really wanted to, you could, let me see what the length is. No, when you got 3 pieces, it's pretty short. I was going to say you could stick the bottom one on the handle and leave it, but it kind of makes it pretty long compared to the other one if you were wanting to break it down. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And they do get closer as you get down towards the tip. That feels pretty good. So for those of you definitely on a budget, it's hard to knock these rods, these DMX Street Bass. It's a shame the other ones, I don't even remember the name of them now, that sort of have the material like the Zodius rods, Shimano. It's a shame that the price jump is so much more. They're like 120 or 30. I mean, they're, just a huge jump in price, and the blank material is about the only difference. And these are pretty good blanks. So this reel here would actually, for me anyway, probably makes more sense if I wanted to, but I'll probably end up putting, I don't know what I put on this thing. You know me, one of the tricks is balance. I got to figure out a way to get that. That's like a rubberized butt end sticking in there, but it is in there. I tried to get that other one out. And I don't know if it's part of this, but it's what a lot of guys claim. This is part of what helps make a rod sensitive, and I guess it may be, because these rods are very sensitive. So anyway, I got it unboxed. I'll have to get it out on the water and use it. What would I use it for? I don't even really know for sure. But for 38 bucks, we will try it for, I'll probably try it for a jig rod. I actually have a jig right here. Now this color is sucked. But I just rigged up that just to throw out a bright color so I could see it. But I was using these are little jigs that you can get, little finesse jigs from Rogers Sporting Goods. They're like $3.50 or something. And not this color, but I lost it. The kind of like the Bee Height Delight on the Chatterbaits. Had a lot of bright on. Okay, I lost you. But anyway, I was catching bass pretty good on it, and I just stuck this on there. I should have stuck another Baby Ray Menace on this. These are those freebies I got that are way bright. I don't know if I've ever seen water dark enough to use these. Or something if you were like bed fishing where you wanted to see where your bait was in relation to the bass. Possibly use it. They suck. Here's what I was using basically. One of those rigged up on one of these that actually has, it's kind of black on top, and then it's got the, you know, this kind of a lime green belly. So I need to get up to Rogers and pick some more up. They're just house cheap finesse jigs. And like I was talking with Matt, they seem to just get through the rocks a little better. I don't know if it's because they're light and this little cut skirting material just helps them a little bit, but I was definitely having pretty good luck until I didn't, and I threw this down in some brush that, I don't know, there was no coming back home. Probably 12, 14 foot of water. Had to break it off. But I was using that. If you guys remember right, I got the big sexy back from Bonsai Guy, the Lake Fork guy. 7'2", medium heavy. It's a little overkill for these little jigs. So little jigs like this rod should be perfect, and I'll double check sensitivity, but should be fine for stuff like that. The little finesse jigs or the smaller stuff. And then if you pair it up with the, you know, like one of these reels, the deeper spools, but like, you know, 10, 12, whatever pound line, 15-pound braid really, and then go to your leader just accordingly to whatever you're, you know, what you're doing basically. So anyway, awesome. These rods just, they definitely, once you stick those pieces together, they just definitely have they look and work very well. I'm hoping these come back in stock so I can recommend them to you guys. But as of right now, the 210, and let's turn it where we can read the stuff, is still available. Oh boy. Well, so much for that. 7 to 25 grams. I do like that. I like that reel seat better. The nut. Not that there's anything wrong with that one. So I'm going again tomorrow. I don't know where. I will get this rigged up with what I don't know. Maybe this reel. Let me move this. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way. So did anybody else have any questions? Somebody commented about, I don't know if the carbon lights come in a two-piece or not. I want to say some of the Bass Pro stuff does. So far, I'm liking these reels. The only downside to a little bitty old spool, even though it's deep, if you're running bigger line, is as you cast, that line feeds off pretty quick. So it's easy to cast like half the spool off this thing. Then you're left with, like if I got the 7-to-1, you're left with a fairly slow reel. So I'm still trying to decide which I like better. I definitely like the 8-to-1. Like I said, I had on the big sexy, and I was, you know, kind of just throwing it using it like as a jig rod, and I definitely like the little higher speed. And it'll cast very well. It'll cast, even though it's on that big rod, that bait with one of these on it, which is probably closer to a ½ ounce than it is anything. Well, let's just see. Because whatever this weighs, that's what I was throwing on that big old jig rod. Yeah, so 13 has, so that's close to 3/8, a little over 3/8 of an ounce. But that is an awesome working bait. Probably even that color would be good if the water's a little clear. When it comes to a jig, that is one of my favorite colors. My next favorite would probably be basically the orange variant. Kind of imitating green and orange crawdads, right? So yeah, I do not have, I don't even know where it is, my scale. The batteries went dead. Oh, there it is. But I got to get batteries in my scale to weigh the reels. But if you remember right, we weighed the spools. So I unboxed that one, and its spools weighed, I think, just like this one. So for whatever reason, I believe it was an 8-to-1, has a slightly heavier spool in the shallow version, or the shallow true BFS one. But they're still lighter than the purple one from the Micro Monster. If you guys remember, and somebody commented that they say right on in the Micro Monster page when you're on it looking at it, that the darker purple one, the 8-to-1, that shallow spool is a little bit heavier than the pinkish one that comes with the dual spool reel. That they stated right in the thing. So I don't know how much lighter that one is. I've not ordered one yet. I did put in for and they said I got it, but I never did check my bank account. But basically $20 back on that reel. It is on the feeling rod. I had this on this was on the Sharp, the heavier, which they consider just a medium, but it's more like a medium heavy. And I was casting regular size baits. No issues with that purple line. So far, the purple line seems fine. If you guys were wanting that, it's rated at like 18 pound. Where's it at? This stuff. It's rated 18 pound at 0.15 millimeters. So where's it at? This stuff is rated at 15 pound, 0.18 millimeters. So basically like the reverse, right? So this stuff is a little thinner, a little stronger, but this stuff just sucks, even if it read like it's supposed to. But where's it at? I'm trying to find one of these spools of Hercules. That was 15 pound. I know I got some somewhere. Yeah, so now this isn't what's on it. That's a line I got from Charles and some other line I took off. But back when I was buying the 15 pound Hercules, it is 15 pound at 0.16. So it was technically just a hair bigger than this, but in 15 pound, which I have not tested this. I probably need to do that just to see if they're true at the 18 pound. But even if it's 15 or whatever, and it's 0.15, it's a touch thinner. I got it just because it was purple and they go with some of my purple rods. Let's be honest, right? But so far, seems legit. Angry Fish, Dominant Peaks or Peak 8 or whatever it was called. The Smooth Handling Superline, purple. So far, seems pretty good if you guys want to get that stuff. And people always ask me, I'm telling you guys right now, with AliExpress, a lot of times it's better to get on there, and you guys have seen me break out the computer and show you guys the whole, just scroll down and you'll start like finding and searching and, search your own way. Now I haven't ordered, have I ordered any yet? I can't remember. I found a variant of these on there. I'm trying to remember. I think they're the same size as these little baby Rage Menace, not as big as the Rage Menace, for $3 for a pack. So these are like $6. So I guess if I can find the colors, the majority of the colors I like anyway, and they're half the price of the Rage, because these things do not last. They are nowhere near Z-Man Elastic. Awesome little baits for chatterbaits, and on the back of these, some of these little jigs, they just give enough little kick for some of your smaller finesse stuff, or on the back of a chatterbait. And if you remember right in the past, I used to use these. Now, probably what I should do is, if I'm going to continue with some of the other Bass Pro ones, is pull some of this stuff that just slows down a chatterbait and just use it for the little tails kicking out. Now, I want to say when I use these, and I should try them again, I think I put them all the way on to where only like half of that was sticking out. I should probably try these just see if I like them with all that sticking out. Don't stick them all the way up on the chatterbaits. Because when I was using those, I believe I was using, I think I had some jackhammers, but the Z-Man Originals, with these newer chatterbaits, whether they're jackhammers or the AliExpress knockoffs, they don't have their traditional bait keeper, which is like further up. It's more back here, so you can actually cheat these shorter, skinnier baits, and you can only go about halfway, and it leaves a little more sticking out the back on a smaller, slimmer profile bait that kind of goes through the water a little easier. But we were doing real well basically with this color and these as a trailer on the B Height Delight like variant in a 3/8 and a 1/2 ounce. The 3/8 I think was working better. I started catching a few fish, and then I gave that one to Hannah. She proceeded to start catching quite a few fish, and then she lost it. And then thanks to Charles's line a week or so ago, I lost the other 3/8. So I'm out of 3/8 little chatterbaits in that color, that B Height Delight. I've got a knockoff 1/2 ounce, and then the actual true jackhammer in a 1/2 ounce B Height Delight. So I got to order a couple more of the little 3/8 ones. And for those of you that maybe I commented about this, Charles, we've talked about the chatterbaits in one of the last videos. We asked you guys if you knew where you could get them because we thought they were Cast King. He said he got them from Cast King. Well, I found them. They're right there on Cast King's website. But they're called Mad. Oh, shoot. They come in like a 3 and a 5 pack. I want to say Mad Bites or something like that. So they're really not a Cast King brand, but they're sold on the Cast King website, and you got to buy them in a 3 or 5 pack in 3/8 or 1/2 ounce. So unfortunately, I don't know if I'll be ordering any more of those chatterbaits, or I never did order any. I don't know if I'll be getting more. I think Charles was going to get some, but they're not bad. They actually chatter pretty hard, but I don't think the blade touches the head. But they don't look bad, and we did find them. And they're only the 5 pack in 3/8 or 1/2 ounce is $16.99. A 3 pack is $11.99. So they're really within price range of the knockoff ones coming from AliExpress, like $3.50 each. So they're not a bad price if you wanted to, get some of those. And because Charles, you've seen him, he definitely catches fish with them. I used one he had in like a sexy shad color for just a half hour or so one day when I don't know, I thought I would have caught a fish by then on it. So I'm not overly impressed with them, but I may buy a 5 pack of the 3/8 for $16.99 just to try out, just to give them a shot. And if I don't like them, I'll just give them to Charles, I guess, because he seems to like them. All right, what else do we need to talk about? Nothing? Okay, good. Do I run? Well, let me tell you something. Shit, please. Hey, that's his name. Do you run Braid the leader? Yes. Lock nut? What? I don't even know what you asked me about a lock nut. But yes, I run Braid to a leader. 100% all the time. 100% of the time. Right? The only time I don't is when I'm trying something or testing something, and I usually go right back to it. So while we're talking about that, good thing you brought that up, shit, please. Let me explain this. If you guys have heard me, I don't even know how much I talked about it because I took it out of the videos as I was editing them. Back when I was kind of, I was going back over Chatterbait videos, watching Brett Height, You know, I was kind of reassuring, trying to track down exactly what rod, because I was having hookup issues. Well, if you guys know the story, I'll finish, 9 Carbon Light 2.0 medium heavy is by far my favorite chatterbait rod now, because that thing just gets hooked up. If you haven't checked out the last video, go check out that video. I think if I'd have had who knows what different rod, I don't know if I would have got that fish in. But just my hookup to land ratio for chatterbaits, that 6'9" medium heavy Carbon Light 2.0 seems to do the trick for me. Now, what was I even talking about? You guys done made me lose my train of thought. Oh yeah, I remember now. In the process of, kind of, do I really need a 7'4" heavy or medium heavy graphite or, glass rod? No. No. Do I need fluorocarbon? No. Now I could probably go, and I have before, 20, even 30-pound braid to a 15, 17. Usually I keep it under 20-pound leader for bigger, 3/8, half ounce, regular type bass baits. I like that 15-pound P-line original. At one time I ran a 17-pound, and then I tried I think it was high seas, 17-pound. That stuff is junk. Do not try high seas. I don't care. That stuff breaks. The 17-pound high seas breaks way faster than 15-pound P-line original. During that whole process, I was watching, and it actually had nothing to do with the chatterbait video, but Brett Hyatt was fishing the shower blows, right? And he was tying a knot, so I was like, I'll try that. I tried those knots. Nope. I done had one fail me. The Alberto knot or whatever, braid to leader, I don't know what it is about it. If you tie it fast, it can fail. I still stick to my guns 100% when I'm out on the water or whether I'm right here. They don't go through the little micro guides that easy, especially if you're using 15-pound or bigger. But just what I call the double uni. You guys know which one I'm talking about, right? It's basically where you cross the lines, make a loop, wrap it 6 times, pull that one tight, wrap this one 6 times, pull them together. That knot never lets me down unless I just don't check it for like a month or however long, and then I, am a moron. If that knot is tied on and fished for that weekend, probably 2 weeks, that knot won't fail you. I had that Alberto knot within, I want to say, less than a weekend. Probably not even that. Probably 1 full day of fishing, and it let go on me. So I'll no longer be using that knot, and there's really no point, but you can use what they call the, I think it's, the shark knot is like when you wrap it 8 times, and then there's the San Diego jam knot or whatever. Everybody's got their own whatever, but I simply use and I call it the Berkeley or the Trilene knot, and it's like a double version of it, but I go through twice, wrap it 6 times, go through, you're basically going through 2 things, a little loop you made and where you wrap the line around. And I've showed those knots I use. Like, they're just, I can tie them real fast. They do not fail. If you get on rocks and, sharp stuff, yes, you got to check your line just like you check your knot. Those are the only times, once those knots are tied, and, I've watched, back in the day, if you guys don't know, they used to have, there was a show, and they basically would put knots up against each other and test them and all this and that, and the shark knot is probably the best knot tying fluoro to any kind of bait, snap, or whatever. But you waste a lot of line. But the shark knot is very good. That San Diego jam knot, which is basically like a half version of the shark knot. Instead of going 8 times, you go 4. Probably does the same thing, but you still kind of waste a little line, and it takes a little longer to tie those than it does the other one. But I've never had that other knot fail me either. Like, if I don't know, if something breaks, like, it'll go off sound like a gun before those knots break, if they're fresh. If you fish for 4 hours, caught 25 fish, pulled it off stumps a few times, and then it just barely, barely any pressure at all snaps one of the knots, either one really, but it's usually the one where the bait's tied on because it's been down there jacking into the fish and rocks and stuff. That's on you. Like, you should really be checking your knot every so many fish or so many bouncings off the bottoms and that kind of thing, right? Just grab it, give it a hard pull. A lot of times it'll don't, and just, you nicked and cut the line. Even though the P-line original is pretty good about being abrasion resistant, but you just never know when you're gonna. Could be the fish, or it just could be something on the bottom, rock, or who knows what you'll get into. We've been fishing in a place where there's rebar, railroad ties, tires. Tires. A lot of times people throw an old tire in there. It's got cords showing. You drag across one of those. You basically drug across some metal. So you never know what you're going to get into when you're fishing. Check your knots often. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Stay tuned. Like I said, we got a video coming up. You're going to see a video where this little rod right here. So you guys know the 6'9" medium heavy with the Zillion, my favorite chatterbait rod, probably my favorite rod and reel going at the moment because I can throw jigs with it, a lot of just regular bass gear. But then this is like the small version of that for like that, whether you'd want to call it power BFS, just, finesse fishing, power finesse, whatever you want to call it. But this little Acura reel, I got 10-pound test to a 10-pound leader. That's a 6'6" medium light. They make a 7-foot. I don't think you can get a 2-piece version, but I want to say that some of these carbon lights come in 2 pieces, but I'm not 100% on that. I know some of the other Bass Pro brand, house brands do offer a 2-piece. So as I get out of here, I want to talk real quick about these $38 rods. Okay, I recommend this. Hopefully this one will come back in stock, because if not, it'll be like that, the CU Double 7-footer. It's been listed on AliExpress since I've been going on AliExpress, never been able to get it. The 6-foot CU Double is still a $38 rod I recommend for true BFS, all-around BFS. Then if you want to get into that power stuff, once you can get into these street bass ones, but then for a regular, just all-around bass rod, I'll have to recommend this for 38 bucks. These are hard to beat for the price. Now, if you want to stick with, and they do make them in 2-piece, but the 2 pieces aren't near the quality. You can go just to Bass Pro Shops, and for like 40 bucks, 38, 40, I think they're still that. The Berkeley Lightning rods. You can get that 6'6" medium, which is roughly comparable to this rod. It's got a very soft tip, way softer than a normal medium. But then they make like a 7-foot medium heavy and all that, and they're all the same price. And those lightning rods are actually hard to beat for the money also. The downside to a lightning rod, if I had to give it a downside, is still in the guides. Like, these guides aren't that great, more than likely. I haven't had an issue with them yet, but they're probably not the highest quality, right? In order to keep the rod at 38 bucks. And it's the same kind of thing with the lightning rod. I think the lightning rods have pretty good blanks. Kind of cheap reel seats definitely don't look the quality of these, but they're comfortable. They feel all right, and they've got that pressed cork foam full handles, and they're good rods though. For it's hard to beat for 40 bucks if you're on a budget and you want to slap together some rod and reel combos. I don't recommend. I don't even know what Abu Garcia reel. Like, if I had to recommend a reel, I don't really recommend a reel here in the States. I would still say AliExpress. That if you guys remember the black and red Daiwa that's only like $40 some, that's still a hard reel to beat. This reel's still a hard reel to beat, especially if you're getting one of these rods. You get one of these, it'll hold enough 10 or 15 pound braid to do whatever you'd want to do with even this little stouter rod. And these palms just a little big, but for 20 bucks. If you guys don't know about these, now it's a different handle. I stuck that handle on there just to have a handle on it. But these, I originally called them, I thought they were almost an exact copy, and they're not. They're a little bit bigger than the Zephyr, but they're not far off from the Zephyr quality, basically, and they're $20. That is a pretty hard reel to beat. Comes with the drag clicker, all for 20 bucks. You can Now, and then Jay was commenting on this also. You can do some all around BFS type stuff with it. You can't go very low. Like Jay, I think commented, he can only get down about 3.5 grams, and anything lower than that, it's like game over. It wants backlash. It's not real good for ultralight BFS fishing, but for all around just lightweight stuff, it's not a bad reel. You definitely don't want to go to the little creeks and streams throwing a trout magnet. You're not gonna get there with this. But $20 reel, the Daiwa reel. But I'm still recommending these reels. You guys kind of seen I've put my eggs in my basket with. I've got 3 of these, two more coming. 3 Dark Wolf Ultras. I got one of the Micro Monsters. Possibility of ordering one more Micro Monster with the shallow and deep spool. Hopefully get it right this time. Put it on the purple rod, and then maybe even one more at some point in time. So the purple rods will have all Micro Monsters on them. I think this rod's got a rod and reel or have a home together because this feels pretty good. It'll hold weight. Like you can put a lot of 10-pound braid on that deep spool, and it casts like crazy lightweight baits, still real good. And lastly, as I get out of here, and I'm getting out of here, you guys know my videos are very short, right? You guys know me, short videos. Not really. I wanted to show you guys, and the reason that you'll have the settings totally different. The deep spool has a crazy big chunk of metal for these magnets to work against. That's why, if you guys remember right, I was out there and at first I was like, what's going on? Like these I can have down here at like 3 or just over 3, and I was wanting to be at like 4 or just over 4 for the shallow spools. Well, the reason is, and let me get one of the shallow spools out right here. Hang on. I'm going to get it. The reason is what I just showed you. The shallow spools, see how there's a lot less material? So you just have to have the braking, the brakes, you got to crank the dial up, brakes got to get in closer in order to apply as much, brake force as what they do on the deeper spool. And that's what the difference was. I couldn't figure that out at first when I was out there doing some of that cast testing. I'm like, what is going on here? I would have thought it'd been the opposite, but it's just due to the fact that how they've got the plates in there. So these, somewhere right in there, 3, just, and you can go depending on the wind, but like for me, no issues with backlashing. Let me double check this one. I want to say, yeah, see there. Different rods, kind of throwing different baits, but I always end up about the same way. Like 1 notch past 3 seems good for the deep spools, and it was closer to like 4 or 1 spot past 4 when I was out there playing around with that 1.7 grams with the shallow spools. And then this one, yep, they're all roughly the same. That may actually be 1 even more, but. And so this one was throwing, just kind of flipping that out. But you'd be surprised, even though that's a little bit heavier rod I had it on. Of course, it's 7'2". I could get crazy long casts with that, throw it out and let it hit bottom and then just bounce it back to me and swim it back too. Caught a few fish just kind of letting it hit bottom, picking it up, and not really just bouncing on bottom, but kind of like swimming it for a little bit, letting it, make sure I was still close to bottom, so I was killing it, letting it hit bottom, and then start swimming it. And I caught a few while it was swimming. Those little feet get to kicking, a little swimming through the water. So far, I'm liking all of the reels I got. I have not any issues yet with them. So at some point, which I've said, this one's for sale. No one's really made an offer on it yet. I'm kind of debating on what to do with this reel. I don't even really need it anymore. It's definitely way quiet when it casts, works very well. Possibility I may put it back on one of those Lure Star rods and take it out to throw the real little bitty stuff. I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted. I would actually, if somebody wants to, because what I'm thinking about doing, if I sell this one, I'm thinking about buying the Metanium, just so I can have my own little shootout going between the Zillions and the Metanium, or I might buy another Zillion. Because I'm tempted to buy a Zillion. I do not want a Silver Fox for the simple fact I want a Silver Fox because it comes with the shallow spool. I don't want it because it's black. I don't think I'll like that reel. But who knows? I may get that, or I may get a Metanium, or I may just wait and get that new reel coming from Luz. Or if the reel test ever would message me about getting, if he's going to get one of those from the actual Korean factory. I don't remember what they called those. Without the Luz branding on it, I would like to get one of those in a shallower spool, like one where I could still put like 15-pound braid, but not crazy deep. Kind of like what the shallow spool, if I ever end up getting one for the Zillion just to try. Because I don't really need it. The Zillions, even though it's just a SV boost spool, you can fill it about halfway, and it holds about as much as a Aldebaran MGL, and crazy long cast the lightweight, cast the heavy stuff. It just all around awesome spool. But I would like to try one of the shallower spools. Definitely talked myself out of buying the Steez Limited. So anyway, who knows? You never know what you'll see me with next. But you will see me with a largemouth bass in my hands with a smile on my face. Promise you. All right, guys, got to go. Get out of here, go bass bonsai, but whatever you do, make sure you have fun doing it.